Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, glories to Srila Prabhupada, and welcome to Wednesday night reading and discussions with the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the members of the Hare Krishna Society globally. And these classes are being conducted from the unedited, unabridged, authentic books of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami in his very focused and dedicated work as the pure devotee of Krishna. These books did not just appear by chance or by accident, but they appeared through the tremendous surrender of our spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Very, very hard work. And when you see the volume of service that he performed, even in the short period from 1965 to 1977, it's extraordinary. And he was working ongoing like that pretty much all his life at various levels of focus. And even back in 1944, we have copies of his magazines, and they are extraordinary pieces of work that can be relished by all of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada who are drinking the nectar of his information on how to get out of the entanglement of the material world, which has afflicted many of us for, who knows, millions of births possibly. And by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this opportunity to emancipate ourselves from the repetition of birth and death is available if we're willing to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada in his Vani incarnation. This is something that people minimize, especially in the movement that he organized originally, the ISKCON group, which has been taken away by ambitious disciples of his for personal gain, self-aggrandizement. And this is unfortunate, very unfortunate. And many people feel abandoned. I got a note from Gargamuni Swami today, and he was not aware of anything that we're doing. He said, oh, you should just, because I made a comment about the fraudulent guru system in ISKCON. He said, oh, you should just concentrate on chanting your rounds and studying the books. I wrote him back, oh, well, we do that at minimum, but we have all kinds of programs going on, multiple programs for the rejuvenation of the Krishna Consciousness movement under Prabhupada's instructions. So when the parampara is lost, it must be rejuvenated. That is Prabhupada's instructions in the Gita, and refers to that in terms of Krishna. When Krishna reappeared, he came to reestablish the principles of religion. And so our mission is to, now that this parampara has been lost, we're here to rejuvenate it. Dasa avatar. That's our service. In Australia, how are you? Mr. Mover. I was noticing he wears these saffron clothes. I said, oh, but it's actually his moving uniform he's wearing. But it's very appropriate. It looks right. Thank you. And so our mission is to reestablish the proper instructions of Srila Prabhupada in his initiation system. Yes. Because nowadays people, I asked someone who reached out to me today, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, from India. Someone said, oh, my brother's in Oakville, and can you help him? Oakville's just a suburb of Hamilton near us. I said to him, well, I asked him a pertinent question. I said, well, who are you? Oh, my mother is a disciple. I said, a disciple of who? He goes, Jayapataka. So I took it on the chin. All right. And then he volunteered, well, I'm a disciple of Bhakti Vikash. Oh, so I said, well, do you know where he got, I asked him a question. Rupa Manjari Devi. I asked him a question. I asked him, well, where did both of these people get the authority to take the role of Diksha Guru? Very good question. Oh, well, I don't know, was his answer. So I asked him, I said, do you mind asking them where they got the authority to do this? Can you get the answer from them and maybe share it with me? Because according to our understanding of Prabhupada's teachings, they never got the authority to become Diksha Guru under the disciplic succession. I asked him about disciplic succession. So are both of these the next representatives of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda in the disciplic succession? Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know. Okay, well, find out. Because there is a lot of misrepresentation that's gone on in the world of ISKCON. Misrepresentation, misinformation. And this is going on everywhere, of course, especially in the material society that we live in. It's just people are constantly lying. It's interesting, I got a video today from Bhakti Vikash Swami, it was sent to me, okay? And he's talking about people lying. So many people are lying. Well, it was ironic. I sent it to a few of us. I said, geez, listen to this. He's talking about people lying. Where does he think he has the authority to be a representative of Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada in the disciplic succession as a Diksha Guru, so-called Uttama Adhikari? Well, if you try to connect the dots, they don't. This is a fabrication. This is simply a story that they've concocted under misinformation from previous godbrothers who were ambitious, the original 11, to take that role as Diksha Guru. This is absurd. At any rate, and this has gone on. So our mission is to reestablish the proper initiation system. Yes, which is the Ritvik system. We are not Ritviks. We are not Prabhupada Nugas. We are the Prabhupada Disciples Association, and members of the Hare Krishna Society. And we have an oath of allegiance, by the way, that I'm getting Bhakti Jad to reformat for us, and I'll put it up online. And if you're interested, you can have a copy for yourself and sign it and put it in your office or your room and refer to it as we move forward in the rejuvenation of the Parampara system given to us, the correct one, by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Rejuvenation. So this initiation system, we're going to be having an initiation program in Mexico in February of this year. And if anyone is interested in initiation or attending the ceremony, either there in Mexico City personally, or if you want to get initiated online as part of the ceremony, which is quite acceptable, it's a valid initiation, then please get in touch with us and we'll be happy to review your interest and your desires and have you join this group that will be initiated as Prabhupada disciples in February, approximately. I don't have the exact date yet, but approximately February 2025. So this is what we're doing, initiating new Prabhupada disciples. And there's nothing better than new. A Dasa avatar, nothing better than new. I always tell people that. Everything new is better than everything that's old and hackneyed, like the ISKCON group. So these new people too are very exciting for us because they bring an extra enthusiasm and desire to serve, actually do things, not like the old guard that don't do anything. Maybe they do, I'm not sure. A lot of them can't even shave their face or cut their hair, Yaśodā? They're asking, do you chant your rounds? Do you just read Prabhupada's books? I was going to write back to my friend, maybe you should consider shaving your goatee or your beard or your hair. Maybe you should consider that, but I took discretion as the better part of valor. You know, we want people to be with us. We don't want to attack them. Hey, Krishna Kata, that's not our goal. Our goal is rejuvenation of a mission. And that is also through, although he wasn't aware of this, the republication, the reprinting of Prabhupada's original Delhi Bhagavatams, which is something we've raised the money through a GoFundMe campaign, which was very successful. And we're moving forward. We're having a meeting with the printer tomorrow in a particular country that we're going to, one of them possibly that we're investigating, to see if we can establish a reasonable price so that we can move forward with having that completed. So that's on the table. So the change books, we do not, the rejuvenation means not these change books, so many of them, unfortunately. And we've talked about that. The other thing that we wanted to bring up is the change kirtan. This is quite a different concocted kirtan system these days. This sit-down kirtan with the harmonium and the rock star image, a Dasa avatar. Look at me, I'm a singer. Look at how good I am. And they got earrings on and neck guys that have them, earrings on and neck beads and tattoos and fancy headgear, sikas. Yeah, you look good as a rock star. You know, not to brag, but I've been there. I got the t-shirt. In the Karmi world, that is. I'm not a famous one, but I'm a little bit. You know, fame is relative to the number of people you know. That's a zero fame Real fame is to be known as a devotee of Krishna and a servant of Srila Prabhupada. That is real fame. Nothing else. Money means nothing. Fame means nothing. Followers mean nothing. These are all superficial, very superficial. And they wash away in the annals of time. Okay. And then Yaśodā-nandana, as Prabhu has been talking to us, telling us about the correct methods for offering prasadam. And this is something that's not going on in that group any longer. So rejuvenation of the offering of prasadam, of the kirtan, of the books, of the initiation process. How do you like that agenda, Dasa Avatar? Does that sound like we're connecting the dots? I think so. We didn't wake up yesterday, although some people think, oh, everybody, they don't know anything. Okay, fair enough. You can think what you want, Mr. Amateur. Go ahead. And that's what these people are. They're amateurs trying to play the role of professional gurus. And it is a big, big aparad against our spiritual master. And we will not stop no matter what happens. And people can come and go. That's their choice. We don't mind. We're going to move forward now with the wonderful letter that was written by Srila Prabhupada to Sumati Maharajji in India. And we have a picture of her that I wanted to show. And as you know, I had a private darshan with her at her estate in Juhu on the beach. It was right on the beach. And I was picked out of a group of devotees that were at the front gate during the time that Prabhupada was in the process of building the temple. It must have been 75, maybe. And she picked me out of the crowd, and I went to sit. And she interviewed me. That's basically it for about a half hour. And there she is there, Sumati Maharajji. And if we want to bring that a little closer, Prabhu, we can read that. Srila Prabhupada, at a speaking engagement in the early 70s with Sumati Maharajji, the proprietor of the Sindhi Steam Navigation Company, she is referred to on the opposite page as, I can barely read it, Sumati Bien. Srila Prabhupada wrote to her after his arrival in America. And this letter is reproduced in the Reflections chapter on page 86. Also, Srila Prabhupada refers humorously to this 1965 meeting in the conversation. I had a message cover over what is it? I can't see. Sorry. Oh, thank you. In this meeting, in the conversation on page 83. So we'll go there. Let's go directly to that. And I'll read the letter. And there's a lot of insight here in this letter for all of us. So follow along carefully and try to capture the message that Srila Prabhupada is delivering to her and to everyone in his amazing writings. This is on from New York on October 27th, 1965. Madame Sumati Maharajji Vaisheb Heba, please accept my greetings. I'm very glad to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated the 9th instant and have noted the contents. Since I have landed in the USA, I have improved in my health, and I'm very glad to see that in America, practically everything is available for our Indian vegetarian dishes. The people in general are so satisfied so far their material needs are concerned, and they are spiritually inclined. When I was in Butler, Pennsylvania, about 500 miles from New York City, I saw there many churches, and they were attending regularly. The people were going. These shows that they are spiritually inclined. I was also invited by some church churches, church-governed schools and colleges, and I spoke there, and they appreciated and presented me with some token rewards. When I was speaking to the students, they were very much eagerly hearing me about the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam. Rather, the clergymen were cautious to allow the students to hear me so patiently. Yes, I've had that experience myself, speaking at funerals and other things like that, where the priests get really upset. They thought that the students may not be converted into Hindu ideas, as it is quite natural for any religious sect, but they do not know that the devotional service of the Lord, Sri Krishna, is the common religion for everyone, including the Aborigines and the cannibals in the jungles. Anyway, so far I have studied the American people. They're very much eager to learn about the Indian way, spiritual realization, and there are so many so-called yoga ashrams in America. Unfortunately, they are not very much adored by the government, and it's heard that such yoga ashrams have exploited the innocent people, as it has been the case in India also. This was also the hot yoga group that was formed in LA. The only hope is that they are spiritually inclined and immense benefit can be done to them if the cult of Srimad Bhagavatam is preached here. And again, cult means a group of people with the same set of beliefs, not a cult of misdirection. The American public also has given reception to the Indian art and music. So many of them come, and every one of them is given good reception. Recently, one dancer from Madras came here, Bala Saraswati, and just to see the mode of reception, I went to see the dance with a friend. Although for the last 40 years, I never attended such dance ceremony. I wonder why they do that at the Festival of India so much. Huh? The dancer was successful in her demonstration. The music was in Indian classical tune, mostly in Sanskrit language, and the American public appreciated them. So I was encouraged to see the favorable circumstances about my future preaching work. The Bhagavat cult is preached also through the art of music and dance, as it was done by Lord Chaitanya. I was just thinking of introducing that same system for my Bhagavat preaching, but I have no means. The Christian missionary people are backed by huge resources, and they preach the Christian cult all over the world. Similarly, the devotees of Lord Krishna may also combine together to start the mission of preaching Bhagavat cult all over the world. It is not for serving any political purpose, but it is necessary to preach the cult for saving the people in general from the dangerous tendency of godlessness. That, by the way, we can see that in the current Democratic Party in America. They're building their platform on abortion, one of their main topics, and then economic development. The Christian cult or any other cult cannot save the people from being under the clutches of the growing communism. But the Bhagavat cult can save them because of its philosophical and scientific approach. I'm therefore thinking of bringing a Sankirtan party from India, but I do not know how to do it. Unless there is an organized party or association, it is very difficult to do it. The Ramakrishna mission here is busy in preaching a misrepresentation, and therefore, practically, they have failed to preach the real cult of India. And unfortunately, this misrepresentation is going on in the former or the current ISKCON movement. The so-called yogis also could not establish the real cult of Bhagavad Gita. They are after material gains. The Bhagavat cult is not there at all, although it is the only remedy for raising the people in the world in the path of self-realization and spiritual salvation. I do not know what is in the mind of Lord Balakrishna, But I think your attention to give an impetus to the Bhagavad cult and my humble attempts can serve a great purpose. By the grace of the Lord, you have a great position in the world and has learnt that you are one of the richest women in the world. But above all, you are a pious lady with great devotion for Lord Balakrishna, and you can do a lot in this connection. Hare Bol. By the grace of Lord Balakrishna, you are also free from all family encumbrances. And as I have seen you in your Palm Ban house, that's where I went, you can live like a sage and tapaswini. I wish you may take up the idea of Bhagavatam preaching work a little more seriously. What I want, that immediately a society for this purpose may be formed, and that will be recognized by the government for cultural activity. So many cultural missions come here from India at the expense of the government, and they simply waste the money. But if there is a real cultural mission for preaching the Bhagavatam cult, a great philanthropic work will be done for the human society at large. I'm just giving you the idea, and if you kindly think over the matter seriously and consult your beloved Lord Balakrishna, surely you will be further enlightened in the matter. There is a scope and there is a necessity also, and it is the duty of every Indian, especially the devotees of Lord Krishna, to take up the matter. Very positive. Direct preaching here, and we'll finish off. I'm glad to hear from you about my humble suggestions per return of mail. Hope you are well. With my best regards, I am yours sincerely, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. And nota bene, I'm very glad to note the last time of your letter under reply in which you write to say, I feel that if you should stay there till you fully recover from your illness and return only after you've completed your mission. Yes, I wish to stay here for all the days till I've finished the mission of life to preach Bhagavad cult very rightly, and for this reason only, I have suggested the above means and ways. If you kindly cooperate in forming a society for this purpose, with your great influence, surely all Indians will combine, and thus we can fulfill the mission, very nicely declaring the glories of India. Please do it for the Lord's sake. What a fantastic letter. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava. Please chant along, by the way, on all these mantras and chants. Get fully absorbed in this and take advantage of this opportunity to get devotee association 3 times a week at our classes. All glories to the Sankirtan mission of the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society. Haribol.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim saraswatim vyasam. Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. Tato jayam mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, after offering respectful obeisances. 1. To the personality of Godhead Narayana. 2. To the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being. 3. To the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Then 4. To Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Thanks everybody for coming to this hearing and discussion on the Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses from the Adi Lila, chapter 1, text 18-22, which explains the meaning and the benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityānanda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Chaitanya and Nityānanda. Glory to Advaita Chandra, and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. Text 19. 18 Thakur Gaudiya ke karye chenayatmasat. 18 era charana vandan tire morenat. These three deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Text 20. Granteraram bhekari mangala charana Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smarana. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benedictions. Text 21. Tinera smaraneoi vigna vinashana, anayaseoi nija vanchita purana. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desires. Srimangala charanoi trivida prakar vastu nirdesha shirvada namaskara. The invocation involved three processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. It should be noted that the reading we're about to commence is based upon the non-edited, non-interpolated, non-adulterated version of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, the original 1974 version. All synonyms, translations, and purports are by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and also known as the Krishna Consciousness movement. We are reading from Adi Lila, chapter 5, text number 10. Srishti adike sevatandra agnyara palan, Shesharupe Hare Krishnera vividha sevan, Srishti adika seva, service in the matter of creation. Tanra, his, Ajnana, of the order, Palana, execution, Shesharupi, the form of Lord Shesha, Kare, does, Krishnera, of Lord Krishna, Vivida Sevana, varieties of service. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. He executes the orders of Lord Krishna in the work of creation, and in the form of Lord Shesha, he serves Krishna in various ways. Purport. According to expert opinion, Balarama, as the chief of the original quadruple forms, is also the original Samkarshana. Balarama, the first expansion of Krishna, expands himself in 5 forms. 1. Mahasankarshana. 2. Karana Abdi Shayi. 3. Garbha Udaka Shayi. 4. Kshira Udaka Shayi. And 5. Shesha. These 5 plenary portions are responsible for both the spiritual and material cosmic manifestations. In these 5 forms, Lord Balaram assists Lord Krishna in his activities. The first 4 of these forms are responsible for the cosmic manifestations, whereas Shesha is responsible for personal service to the Lord. Shesha is called Ananta, or unlimited, because he assists the personality of Godhead in his unlimited expansions by performing an unlimited variety of services. Sri Balarama is the servitor Godhead who serves Lord Krishna in all affairs of existence and knowledge. Lord Nityānanda Prabhu, who is the same servitor Godhead, Balarama, performs the same service to Lord Gauranga by constant association. Text number 11. Sarvarupi Asvadaye Krishna Sevananda Se Balarama Gora Sange Nityānanda. Sarvarupi, in all these forms, Asvadaye, taste, Krishna Seva Ananda, the transcendental bliss of serving Krishna. Se Balarama, that Lord Balaram, Gora Sangi, with Gaura Sundar, Nityānanda, Lord Nityānanda, translation by Srila Prabhupada. In all the form, he tastes the transcendental bliss of serving Krishna. That same Balarama is Lord Nityānanda, the companion of Lord Gaura Sundara. Text number 12. Sapta shlokera artha kari shari sloke yati Nityānanda tattva jani sarvaloke. Sapta shlokera. Of the 7th verse, artha, the meaning, kari, I do, chari sloke, in 4 verses, yati, in which, Nityānanda tattva, the truth of Lord Nityananda, jani, one knows, sarvaloke, all over the world. Translation. I've explained the 7th verse in 4 subsequent verses. By these verses, all the world can know the truth about Lord Nityananda. Om ajnanatimirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasadnaya Prashantaya Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandana Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sarkara Yuktam Kadate Visheshataha Adadana Strinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Sat Karomi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in these specific verses of the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, he's bringing up some very important truths about the position of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Very important. Because unless one understands the position of Lord Nityananda, it is very difficult to understand the position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are so many references to this in the works of Narottam Das Thakur and other Gaudiya Vaishnavacharyas. He is discussing here also the position of Lord Shesha. Lord Shesha facilitates the transcendental activities of Lord Krishna. And in the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or Gaura Leela, the transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda plays a very key position. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to spread Krishna consciousness, or the cult of bhakti in Bengal, he delegated Lord Nityananda to go to Bengal and told him, you don't have to come here every year for Ratha Yatra anymore. Stay in Bengal and preached. Now, this is very important because Lord Nityananda was accompanied by Skull Dwadasa Gopala, or 12 incarnation of 12 cowherd boys who had incarnated in Bengal to assist Lord Nityananda in preaching the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And some of them were pretty powerful devotees. These were not just some neophytes, they were Nitya Siddha that were sent by Krishna himself to spread Krishna consciousness in Bengal. Now, everybody has seen in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta the picture of Nityananda Prabhu at the festival, the Chiradahi festival of Raghunath Das Goswami in Panihati, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested this Raghunath Das Goswami to arrange for a festival to feed thousands of people, special prasadam of chip rice, yogurt, and mixed with so many beautiful substances. And this is a very, very special pastime, very special lila of Lord Nityananda. Everybody is familiar. When Lord Nityananda started his preaching in Bengal upon the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went to Jagai and Madai. Everybody heard Jagai Madai had been born in respectable Brahmin families. But by the influence of Kali Yuga, they became debauchees. All kinds of forbidden activities, sinful activities. They were doing all nonsense. So Lord Nityananda Prabhu, accompanied by Haridas Thakur, approached Jagai and Madai and requested them to chant the name of Hari, chant the name of Krishna. Oh, all hell broke loose. They took a broken pot, they took a pot, earthen pot, that they had been using for drinking wine, and they struck Nityananda on the forehead and they drew some blood. Now, this pastime is very important. Why? Because what happened when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, he came over and brought his Sudarshan Chakra, his wheel, his transcendental wheel, ready to kill Jagai and Madai. And what happened is that Lord Nityananda stopped him and says, no, in this age, you cannot kill all these miscreants. You have to give them mercy. You kill their ignorance by giving the Maha Mantra. That was the compassion of Lord Nityananda. So one of the brothers requested Lord Chaitanya, oh, I've made such an offense, please forgive me. And Lord Chaitanya forgave him. So this is very special because it shows the compassion and kindness of Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda is represented by the bona fide authorized Acharya. We see Prabhupada mentions this word authorized so many times in his books. He discusses this, how things have to be authorized. Just last time we spoke, at one point we were discussing how the prasadam becomes prasadam from unoffered food or bhoga, B-H-O-G-A, how the non-offered foodstuff becomes prasadam, or prasadam means the mercy of the Lord. There's a process. The first and foremost process is love and devotion. This is not a ritualistic performance. This is an act of love and devotion, of offering food to Lord Krishna. But this has to be done according to the instruction and guidance and order of the Acharya. Now, this is very important because there's many people who have a misunderstanding that they can bypass the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, and manufacture and invent their own way of offering bhoga. This is well known. Anybody who knows a little bit of the history in that society knows what we're talking about. And we've mentioned this several times, that there's no record anywhere especially in the last 12 to 15 months of Srila Prabhupada's manifested presence, that he gave an order to change the way of offering artik and offering the bhoga. No, it does not exist. This is another one of these post-1977-78 concoctions. How many times did Prabhupada warn about manufacturing ideas, manufacturing processes? Prabhupada gave so many warnings. One cannot argue, oh, we didn't know. No, you knew, but you chose to do it anyway. And we've seen the argument, oh, Prabhupada said that we should go to the Hari Bhakti-Vilas and summarize the Hare Bhakti-Vilas. Well, that's nice. Did you ever have a discussion with Prabhupada? Whether you told him that you were going to change the way that he instructed how to offer the bhoga? How will Krishna accept it if it's not done according to the instruction of the Acharya? Some people say that, oh, we follow the tradition. What tradition? From whom? Tradition is established by the authorized Acharya. Let me give an example. When when His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was preaching in Bengal, there was some criticism from some caste Goswamis and caste Brahmins and Sahajiyas. Oh, you are a sannyasi, but your guru, Gorkishore, was not a sannyasi, so this is not authorized. Okay, let's go back 1,000 years with Ramanuja. For those of you who are a little familiar, Ramanuja at some point was a householder, and his wife made some, this is in a book called Prabhupada-ācārya, The Life of Ramanuja. Ramanuja's wife had made some negative comments about some other devotee, a great Acharya. And Ramanuja was very upset. He went to the Varadaraja temple in Kanchipuram. He went there in his householder clothes, and he came out as a sannyasi. Nobody gave him sannyas. He just took the sannyas. But that's Ramanuja. In the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, there's a statement, Tejiyasam na doshaya. For those who are powerful, there's no fault. Now, one cannot take advantage of a statement like that and start to invent and think himself so powerful. Then everything becomes topsy-turvy. Because we have seen the argument, oh, Prabhupada did it, we can do it. Okay, Prabhupada also only slept 2 hours a day. You want to try that? Prabhupada started 108 temples all over the world, was staying up all night translating the Bhagavad. You want to try doing that? You qualify? But this is the disease when one has gotten into the path of disobeying the Acharya, inventing ideas. In 1978, one of such pretenders concocted, oh, you should accept us like the 5 Pandavas accepted Maharaj Yudhishthira as the king, the older brothers. Are you the 5 Pandavas? Are you eternally liberated souls? Are you on that level? They don't even think. The neophyte is thinking he's dancing with the gopis. You just bring a trampoline, you jump on it, and you think, oh, I'm dancing with the gopis now. Like we were discussing some time back about this little book here. This is a puja manual from the Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. What's interesting is what they write in here about what happens after you offer the bhoga. It says, it should be understood that by the mercy of the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, we are able to engage in the service of the Lord in his Archa Vigraha. That's fine. Like offering bhoga, and therefore we ask his permission first in order to be able to serve. Well, so far there's nothing objectionable here. And here we go. Then at the end of the offering, We meditate that Srila Prabhupada and your spiritual master, whoever that's supposed to be, where appropriate, are taking the remnants both in Krishna Lila and Gaura Lila after all the associates have taken. Excuse me? Where did you get this Sahaji idea that you're taking remnants with Gaura Lila and Krishna Lila? No, it's quite possible. I'm not going to say here that it's impossible. It's quite possible for one who is actually a liberated soul, situated in his Swarup, Swarup Siddhi, to be on that level. But why? This is complete Sahaja, the way that they're presenting this. Prabhupada never introduced this idea here, that you're imagining here that you're taking prasadam with Krishna. Are you? Really? Maybe. Prabhupada would not accept this idea. You would not go in Prabhupada's room and present this. In other words, Prabhupada set the standard. He's given the instruction. He's given the standard. He requested his disciples not to change the standards. In Prabhupada's final will, there's a request by Srila Prabhupada. The management should not change. No need for any change of management. But yet, within a few months of Prabhupada's departure, everything was changed up and down. Everything was changed and still has not been corrected 46 years later. The trampolines are still very active. The Sahaja ideas are still very active. The point is, do not hear from such persons. Such sentimental foolishness should not be in your life. Do not hear from them. Do not accept their nonsense ideas. And the foremost of these ideas is the most blasphemous nonsense idea that Prabhupada was an employee of their corporation, a worker for hire. Oh, really? The eternally liberated soul, Nityānanda, who established Lord Chaitanya's mission all over the world, is your employee? A worker for hire? Oh, okay. We'll leave it at that. For those who have a little brain substance left, you can figure out what I'm talking about. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Haribol, thank you very much. Yes, and I thought it was interesting this evening when you were reading from the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, text 11. These key words stood out to me in all the forms. He tastes the transcendental bliss of serving Krishna. That same Balaram is Lord Nityānanda, the companion of Lord Gaurasundar. Now, for us, we are also looking for happiness in this world. But unfortunately, on the bodily concept of life, it's not Sat Chit Ananda, it's Asat Achit Nirananda. So the question is, how do we get off the platform of the material platform and enter into transcendental bliss? Sat Chit Ananda. Well, the answer is given here for us in this verse. We just have to insert the position of Srila Prabhupada as the servant of Krishna. In all forms, he tastes the transcendental bliss of serving Srila Prabhupada. Is that hard? No. Is that difficult to understand? No. If we jump ahead and we think, oh, Jugala Priti, now I've become a servant of the gopis, is this a good thing? No. Prabhupada had explained that to us in many cases where people jumped ahead and assumed they had become the servants of the gopis. Jugala Priti. He says most definitively, there's every chance of fall down. Yes. So taking the simple path of serving our spiritual master in his mission, we can reach the eternal platform of life just by that one thing. And Prabhupada further was discussing in a talk in Australia, Nityānanda, whatever, Mr. Krishna West, asked Prabhupada, are we eternally connected to you? And Prabhupada's answer, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, was a simple one. He said, yes, if you stay fixed on the transcendental platform of devotional service, then there is a connection. But if you're not serving the mission of Lord Chaitanya under his direction, under Srila Prabhupada's direction, are you still connected? Simple logic. Everyone is engaged in some particular type of service in this world. Some people are serving the family. Some people serve the business. Some people serve the government. Everybody is engaged in some particular service, but the goal of this mission is that we're all joined together in the service of rejuvenating Srila Prabhupada's mission, Garuda Prabhu. That is our goal, because that mission has been kidnapped by certain ambitious people. And what we are going to do is rejuvenate the mission and the parampara system by following the directions of Srila Prabhupada, as Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu so nicely explained in his lecture, in terms of offering food, simple bhoga to become prasadam. And by the way, serving it to other people that are in your network of presenting Krishna consciousness to, because we are all preachers of this mission for the benefit of others. That's called siksha. This is an important thing to understand, that we are still in that role of teaching Ram Singh, others, about the process of Krishna consciousness and directing people to Srila Prabhupada as the bona fide spiritual master in this disciplic succession. And this is no different, everyone, than when we joined the movement in the early years. And that was great bliss. If you could bring somebody to the lotus feet of the spiritual master, that was a success. That is the garland of success in this mission of Krishna consciousness. How many devotees have you made? How many plates of prasadam have you distributed? How many books have you inspired other people to read? Because if you're reading them yourself, you realize there is nectar in these books. Now, it is hard to understand them, Rupa Manjari. It is. You have to keep reading them and reading them. They're ever fresh. But as my godbrother is saying, oh, just concentrate on reading. Well, fortunately, I have personally read all of the books in the last so many years. Some of them over and over again, the complete sets. And I'm reading the Gita again with great interest, like a fresh new read. Dasa Avatar. It's like brand new. It's like Garuda Prabhu said to me, well, I see you're reading the Gita. How many times have you read the Gita, Vishwakarma Prabhu? Because after 55 years, Ram Singh, you've read it on multiple occasions, spoken on it on multiple occasions. Is it getting old and hackneyed? No. It's ever fresh. And actually, it's interesting to note that if you're carefully studying the literature, you're reading into Prabhupada speaking it. that the words are alive, they're coming alive. I especially read them in the context of the time when Prabhupada was writing the Gita. Because remember, he was at a certain stage of the evolution of the society, and he was writing it for what reason, Dasa Avatar? He was writing it to educate people like me and you on the fundamental principles of Krishna consciousness, so we could jump forward to the next stage, which would be Srimad Bhagavatam, and then after that, Caitanya-caritāmṛta, step by step. Do not jump over this business of Krishna consciousness and think, oh, I become a servant of the gopis. You're deluded. And I'm going to finish off. There was one devotee who passed away recently, a guru in the disciplic succession from Jayadvaita. Interesting. And when he passed away, look at that smile on Garuda's face. When he passed away, he left a message for his disciples. I thought Kadamba was his name. Unfortunately, he passed away, and our prayers are for him, of course, and our hope for his success in spiritual life on the eternal platform of devotional service. But he made a comment. He said, oh, after I'm gone, 17 days later, I want you to broadcast a video of me speaking to my disciples. I thought, oh, well, that's... So on the 17th day, I did go to the video. And I watched it, and he was telling them, all of his so-called followers, however you want to describe them, I'm now back in the spiritual world having a kirtan, and I can't wait till all of you join me there in Goloka Vrindavan. Very interesting. So let us remember that we are always the servant of the servant of the servant of Srila Prabhupada. This will connect us with Prabhupada without any adulteration, any confusion. And in this way, all of you, all of us together can feel solace in knowing if we follow this at the time of death, which could come at any moment, we'll be blessed by our spiritual master and we'll be blessed by the mercy of Krishna. And hopefully they will take us back home, back to Godhead. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could further comment.
Very important point you're raising there. Somebody recently was having a discussion with me about the controversies in the movement or in the society, and clearly distinguishing the bona fide movement of the sincere followers of Prabhupada as opposed to the deviated leaders in that society. He was asking me, do these people really believe in the law of karma? In other words, they were concerned with all of the things that have happened in that society and the reactions of some of the leaders and the behaviors of some of the leaders. Many people are asking the question, do they even believe in the law of karma? Do they even know the law of karma, that there are reactions? Even if you're a devotee or have the dress of a devotee, a dhoti or a sari or tilak, that's nice, that's good. We don't criticize anybody for that. That's not the issue. But how do you behave towards the children, towards the woman, towards the devotees? How do you do? We keep repeating this point again and again, and I'm going to repeat it again because all of you understand this. It's a letter from Srila Prabhupada to a devotee named Drishtaketu on October 14th, 1973. October 14th, 1973 in Bombay, a letter to Drishtaketu. Part of that letter, Prabhupada says, our philosophy is that everything is Krishna's property and everything should be used for Krishna's service. I instructed this philosophy to George Harrison, And he's trying to render service to Krishna in many ways. Recently, you know, he has given us our London temple, the cost being pounds 220,000. Our devotees are very happily living there, and the blessings of Krishna are going to George Harrison. So every one of us should try to please Krishna and his devotee. Then our life is successful. Better to please his devotee first. That is a recommendation for being introduced to Krishna. Regarding your question about instruction, spiritual life is different from material life.
Yes.
The instruction given in my books is supposed to be personal instruction. When we read the Bhagavad Gita as it is understood that we are receiving personal instructions of Krishna. No physical barrier is there in the case of spiritual affairs. It is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Save pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaji ahe tukiya pratihata yayatma suprasidati, Bhagavatam 126. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted in order to completely satisfy the self. Regarding the morning kirtan songs, what you have given is all right. If time permits, there are other songs that can be sung, such as Jeev Jago, Udilo Aruna. There is now a sunrise on the eastern horizon, and Lord Chaitanya, accompanied by his devotees, have started the morning Sankirtan party. Now, here's the point, though. Prabhupada is saying here, the same point we've been mentioning, that Lord Krishna is present in the pages of Bhagavatam. Prabhupada is present in these purports, and Prabhupada is repeating this. The instruction given in my books is supposed to be personal instruction. Everything is understood that way. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Yes, and Prabhupada mentions also, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, that the statements of Bhagavad Gita, not just the verses, but all the statements of the Bhagavad Gita carry transcendental potency from Krishna, that Krishna is speaking via the spiritual master to everyone in this material creation to give them insight how to get out of this entanglement we're in, this mental state of confusion, this mental state of mental concoction, this mental state of pursuit of material happiness. It's not going to happen. It's only possible by us connecting with the transcendental knowledge from Srila Prabhupada and his statements in the Gita, for example, and we'll talk about that. And Prabhupada says, where is the authority when a third-class man comes forward and changes the statements of Bhagavad Gita? It loses its authority. And that transcendental dynamic nature, Garuda Prabhu, there is a certain magic in the preservation of this sound, because this, people don't understand it. They think they need personal association. Yes, that's also good if you can get it. But is it more important to serve in separation in the form of transcendental sound? Most definitely. This is the essence of this yoga. And it's interesting to note, before we go to you, Garuda Prabhu, that this Prabhu writes in the chat here that a couple of Kadamba Kanana's disciples, two of his disciples met with me and they said they were lonely. And they're looking for a new guru, like people looking for another chocolate in the box. Let's get another sweet and maybe we'll enjoy that. Because they have not been instructed on what is the transcendent Rupa Manjari, what is the transcendental nature of this bhakti yoga process under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. This is the proof. We're not trying to prove it. Everyone sees it, but a lot of people can't accept it because they're compromised, Garuda. Please go ahead. My friend Garuda, our professor of
My pranams,
studies. Go ahead.
my pranams, Vishwakarmaji, and to all the Vaishnavas here. Very, provocative in the good sense discussion
Yes.
here. I think it's about really developing a relationship with Prabhupada's Vani. This is what I keep hearing you and Yaśodā-nandana ji speaking about. But you just mentioned that if the Vani is altered and
Yes.
changed and so-called edited, then that's a really big problem. One of the challengers to me for who support Jayadvaita's editing of Bhagavad Gita, saying, "Are you saying that no one can become a devotee by reading Jayadvaita's edited Gita for Prabhupada?" And I said, "I'm not saying that. The teachings are basically there, but you're missing a certain level of connection with Prabhupada by being disloyal to him and doing what is ethically and morally transgressive for any author to change their published writing after they've departed from this world." I'm speaking for any author. This is unheard of. What to speak of this the first world teacher of Krishna Bhakti.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about developing a relationship with Prabhupada's Vani. I think I mentioned maybe quite a while ago in this form that I wrote to Bhanu Swami. I said, "You're translating." I didn't tell him that I've examined his translations and found them fairly mediocre. They're not terribly good, fully reliable translations, by the way, but they can be good in terms of moving around. They're maybe good for some archival access. But I asked him, why are you creating this conveyor belt of translations of the Goswamis' writings, of the 6 Goswamis' writings, and so on? Because it seems that devotees are getting distracted from developing a relationship of depth with Prabhupada's books. And he never wrote me back. I wrote him again and again, questioned why this seva is there. How is he helping devotees go more deeply into their relationship with Prabhupada's Vani? Again, he did not answer. The third time I wrote to him, I told him, I said, "Are you offended? People ask me all the time why I do what I do, and I happily present that before them, and how Prabhupada blessed me to go into the academic realm." But he refuses to respond to me, which I think is a response. I think that's a response. I think he's not sure how he is distracting people from Prabhupada's books. Rather, we should be teaching, and this is why I appreciate this forum. Every time we come on, you're reading about Prabhupada's voyage. Every time we come on, Yaśodā-nandana ji is delving into the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, which is by far my most favorite book in the whole world. And, we're going deep into it. And this is what I appreciate about this forum. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you very much, and we're glad you're with us, and we continue to move forward, become purified together in the association of devotees, and come to higher realizations. And this is very important, how to work together. Teamwork is a critical aspect of gaining momentum. You know, we want to build momentum, but one man, that's not very potent. But when you have so many men, we've talked about this, and women working together for a common purpose, then we can really overcome a lot of obstacles, because this is not easy, everyone. There's a lot of people that want to character assassinate us. I don't want to use those other terms. That could be possible, but we're not worried about that. They want to defame people that are preaching this. They want to banish you, as you know. Tell you you're undesirable. Oh, you're undesirable. What did you do wrong? Like Ron Singh went and provoked these people in Sacramento. Oh, these books shouldn't be used, that this guru system's not bona fide, that your prasadam offerings are not good. And guess what? He got beaten. This was a few months ago. He survived. He's a strong man, but it just shows you the mentality of some people who are brainwashed. They're cultists. That's what they are, in the derogatory sense of the term. Yes, they are. And it's interesting to note, and we'll move forward to our panel, but I also had the chance to read some of the Gaudiya Math books. I have quite a few friends, and one of my friends, who's a Prabhupada disciple, her son got involved with Sridhar Swami and the Gaudiya Math after his becoming disinterested or disenfranchised from ISKCON. So he's flipped over to that. And I got to read some of the books, and I found them also very simple, like you were saying, and not very, more superficial in many ways, and nothing compared to Srila Prabhupada's, not just one book, his huge library of books, letters, conversations, classes. Like it's an ocean of information that he's provided for all of us to take up this path back home to Godhead without any interference from Maya. So I'm suggesting to everyone, please understand, stay focused on the path. And we've got our friend Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. We have our friend in Florida. Is he still with us? Nilesh Sharma.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Oh, there he is.
Hare Krishna.
I can barely see you, brother. Go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna. I'm in a little different place here.
Yeah, it's
it's interesting.
Go ahead, please.
It's interesting to hear this about the book changes and everything. And I've heard Garuda Prabhu talk about this also, is that it's not ethical for anybody to change posthumously, meaning after the death of the author, to change anybody's books. But we are not talking about any books. If I were to take any mundane books, what is it going to be my end result after reading that book? Maybe a little bit of entertainment, maybe a little bit of knowledge of the material world, all that. Here, these are transcendental books. It is going to be a huge difference between when we change transcendental literature by somebody who suffers from 4 miseries, 4 problems, 4 restrictions. He's under the influence of Maya. He has imperfect sense organs. He has a tendency to cheat and a tendency to make mistakes. These 4 problems are there for in all conditioned souls. And when these 4 problems creep into transcendental literature, do you think that at the end of reading that transcendental literature, that so-called, into inverted commas, transcendental literature, will you go back home, back to Godhead? That's my question. Why did Prabhupada say that forget reading transcendental literature, but even hearing the Maha Mantra from the lips of a non-devotee, you should avoid it as much as milk touched by a serpent? Why did he give this analogy? We are reading these books for one purpose only. What is that purpose? That we want to purify ourselves to be worthy of serving Krishna personally. We are so that we can worship him. Will we reach that end result even if we were to read these so-called adulterated books? Now you said they may,
No.
I'm not saying they may not become devotees. I don't think they'll become devotees at all. Because why? That they are reading poisoned literature.
Yes.
The milk touched by the serpent. Why is this analogy given to us? We got to take this as very literally. Because remember,
Yes.
what do we sing during Mangala Arati? Praptasya kalyana gunana vashya vande guroshri charanara vindam. Praptasya, what are you obtaining? When you are glorifying the spiritual master, what are you obtaining? You are obtaining the mercy from the ocean of mercy.
Yes.
Who is the ocean of mercy? Krishna. So until and unless the person is not empowered by his Guru Maharaj, his predecessing Acharya, how can he receive that benediction of mercy from the ocean of mercy, which is Krishna, and then give it to us? He cannot give it to us. So if the mercy does not reach me from Krishna to me, what is my spiritual hope? What is my hope after reading that transcendental literature? We need to focus on these points very, very clearly. Remember, mundane literature will give us entertainment or some knowledge of the material world. But transcendental literature will take us back home if we read the proper source, if we get the proper source and the proper purity. Without that, we are not going to get the end result. I would love to know what Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu has to say about this.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll call upon him to wind up the discussion, because this mystery of devotional service is revealed through the lips, through the transcendental sound from the bona fide spiritual master. And Nilesh, that is the point, bona fide. Not unauthorized, concocted, misrepresenting the philosophy people. This is a mistake.
But Prabhuji, why do you insist on a bona fide?
Because
why
Prabhupada,
do you insist that it has to be bona fide?
yeah,
because the end result will not be the same.
That's right.
If you don't read a bona fide source and then you read from a bona fide source, what is the distinction between the two? What is going to be your end result? Because remember, every book in transcendental literature tells us that if you read this, this will happen. If you read this, this will happen. Like the Gita Mahatmya. The Gita Mahatmya tells us that if you read the first chapter, you will get this. If you read the second chapter, you read this, you'll get this benefit. So we look at the benefit of what we are doing. So if you want to get that benefit, you got to follow the protocol. And if you don't get the benefit, don't blame and nobody but your own self, because you did not follow the protocol. And so when somebody else does not follow the protocol and projects themselves that, oh, you will reach that final destination, when we know you are not going to reach the final destination, we are just letting them know. That's it. And that is why the criticism comes, but it is constructive criticism that we are talking about. So whatever we are talking, you have to understand why. Why does Prabhupada say we have to read from a bona fide source? Tad viddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Also what Krishna says, 4.2, evam parampara praptam, evam, only. He does not say, oh, a little bit of parampara is good enough. No, he does not say that. He said, evam parampara praptam. Read the word, the first word, evam. And this is what we need to be very clear upon. It is not a dogma. It is the purity which we are talking about, which will purify us 100%. Sorry,
exactly. And we thank you. The point is this: if there is dissension that has arisen and people bring it up, they should enter into a proper discussion with their God brothers and then come to a clear understanding, not be banished. Garuda Prabhu, please. And then we'll go to
just I appreciate the strictness of what Nileshji is saying on the one hand.
Yes.
On the other hand, we have seen over and over, I've seen in my 53 years of being in the movement, how Lord Chaitanya will confer his grace despite our shortcomings. If a devotee is sincere and they read the edited version of the 83, the 83 expanded, better edition, however they describe it, and they do describe their work in glowing terms, by the way. Even so, if a devotee is sincere, despite this adulteration, devotee can be benefited in reading that Bhagavad Gita. Of course, it would be better, and in ways that we can't even appreciate, perhaps, or you conceive, by having the genuine and authentic article from Prabhupada. But again, Mahaprabhu Gauranga has pushed this Krishna movement despite us. We've seen this. And again, I think the sincerity of devotees, the Chaitya Guru, can exempt one from totally depending on the tampered words. Eventually, they will find the clean and authentic version, I'm confident. But there are many sincere devotees who read Jayadvaita's adulterated edition, his experiment. They lose things. Yeah, there are things. Jayadvaita personally takes 2 sentences out of a 4-sentence purport. Just removes them. I've talked to him about it. He just does it. But yes, so on the one hand, I respect what Nileshji is saying. On the other hand, Krishna's grace is more powerful than any devotee's blunders.
True. Now, one thing is, just to complement what you're saying, if someone is sincere, we are providing the alternative for them. And as we continue to propagate what we're doing, then hopefully they'll get out of that cult and take shelter of Prabhupada properly and make rapid progress on the path back to home, back to Godhead. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please, if you could give us a final comment on this very interesting evening of transcendental discussion.
I appreciate the different perspective being brought up here, and I'm trying to be respectful of everybody's point. The difficulty with what our good friend and Professor Garuda is presenting is that there are numerous statements from Srila Prabhupada that you cannot even change one word from the Shastra. I was personally told by Prabhupada, if they change one word of what I've written, it will spoil everything I have done. And there's numerous references, especially in some lectures and some other documents. Now, it is true, and the way that Prabhupada explained this, just like what happened is that when Prabhupada was in Hawaii, many followers of one of Prabhupada's disciples who used to be a yogi in the jungles of Hawaii before he became an initiated disciple. And he had his own disciples before he became a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, very influential person in Hawaii, a very good devotee, actually, very good preacher. And it was brought up to Prabhupada that many of the followers of his, after he became initiated, many of the followers of this devotee were not following very strictly. They were chanting Hare Krishna, but not following very strictly. So they asked Prabhupada the question, what will happen? Prabhupada says, well, you can always get some benefit from the chanting. And Prabhupada compared it to churning sandalwood. There's a certain way of doing sandalwood on the stone where you have to put some water between the stone and the sandalwood branch or whatever stick you have, and you do it in a circular motion, and then gradually the sandalwood pulp would come. But you can always do it hitter-titter or in a hodgepodge way, and some sandalwood will come out. In other words, even if they don't follow perfectly the rules and regulations and the standard, because they're chanting the name of Krishna, there is some benefit. But Prabhupada pointed out that can also take millions of years. So in other words, okay, they changed the book. Somebody may say, yeah, they will get some benefit, but why not get the full benefit? Because this method here and this point, this is not the standard Vedic process. This is not the recommended process by Srila Prabhupada, by any of our acharyas, to change the text of an acharya and then say, well, they'll get some benefit. There are other statements from Srila Prabhupada says you cannot even change one syllable. You cannot even change one word. Prabhupada said in one lecture, if you want to understand my books, you have to take it from me. And the difficulty, what I see with many of these editorial adventures, or what I call embellishment projects, is where is the actual authority from Prabhupada to do this? I once wrote a letter to the assistant of that editor we're talking about and asked, do you have any statement from Srila Prabhupada in writing or an audio that Prabhupada has said to go back to the manuscript and do what you have done? He said, no, we don't have that. Then my question remains, how is it authorized? And nobody is given a blank check to do whatever they want. That would be, for example, like Prabhupada told me and told some of his leading secretaries in October of 1977 that I should be the lead disciple amongst his 5,000 disciples for the opening of the temple in Bombay. Okay, does that mean that I can invent a new way of doing things? No, that doesn't. Or somebody said that you're such a great book distributor and you can distribute any books you want. Or somebody is a great cook and you can start cooking with onions, garlic, and all kinds of nonsense. No, you cannot manufacture, people cannot manufacture their own way of interpreting Prabhupada's statements. Just because Prabhupada said such and such devotee is a good devotee. Well, Prabhupada said that about a lot of people. I personally saw Prabhupada telling Guru Kripa Swami, you're the best preacher in the movement. Okay, well, does that mean the person can do and say anything? Because Prabhupada made an encouraging comment. Like, we have to understand, Prabhupada made a lot of these encouraging statements, just like a father would give to his son to encourage. But we have to also understand, Prabhupada was trying to preserve the purity, the integrity, and the originality of his teachings. And that is not reflected with all these changes. Now, if somebody was argue, because I've seen that presented to me several times, well, people are chanting Hare Krishna. Okay, but there are standards to chant. There's methods to chant. There's rules and regulations to chant. And anybody can chant and get some benefit, but one should try to follow the Acharya as he wants to be followed. Just a few comments. Hare Krishna. I see that our good friend Nilesh Prabhu also has his hands up.
Yeah, it's 9:42 here. We're moving towards 10 o'clock in the evening.
Okay. I got a couple hours.
And I find that there's a lot of enthusiasm amongst our group to discuss, and it's good. You know, we want to go over these points. If Nilesh can be brief, by all means, make a comment, brother, please.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. So, it is interesting that we are talking about these points, but remember, Prabhupada also said that the words of the Acharya should be like life and soul for the disciple.
Yes.
So if he has made a certain comment that you cannot change it, should we take it as a life and soul of our, as an instruction, a life and soul for us? And if we do that, then we must follow it. Then why this watered down philosophy and this watered down acceptance of something which is not acceptable? You see, you have to, that is why Krishna also says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, give up all the so-called religions. So even if I find a grammatical mistake, what am I trying to prove? That I am better in grammar than Srila Prabhupada? That means I am taking him as an ordinary man? No, this grammatical mistake may be a mistake, but I'm accepting it in its fullness. Like that, Brahmana who was told to read the Bhagavad Gita. He was illiterate. But did he argue with it? He took the words of the Acharya to his life as a life and soul. He would sit down in front of the book and he would just look at the cover. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exalted him for that. So remember that this mercy has to come down through the proper channels. The parampara system is like a telescope. One bad lens and the image is going to go foggy. One bad lens. It is not that other lenses are clear, but only one lens is bad. The entire image is going to be spoiled. Hare Krishna.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for your participation today. It's a discussion. And this discussion is going to go on with amongst us God brothers and God sisters, week after week, month after month, year after year, until we leave this world. So our purpose is to be in a position of non-compromise. This compromising goes on in every field of life, especially in the Krishna conscious mission that Prabhupada set up. There's a lot of compromise there for maintaining position. And as you know, if you go into an environment where you're prepared to compromise, they welcome you. If you don't compromise on any level, they will reject you. That's their system of dealing with dissenters. And we'll leave it at that for tonight. Thank you, everyone. We're going to move to the chanting of Hare Krishna, a short video that we've put together with Bhaktivedanta. And then the ending, which will show us all the branch offices that we're setting up for the distribution of these new books that we're coming out with. And it'll give a list of all the donators. So if you stick on, you can watch it and enjoy the whole production. And thank you again. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
bhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating. Thanks Vishwakarma Prabhu for hosting the program, Venkat Bhakta Prabhu for managing the program, Nilesh Prabhu, Dr. Garuda Prabhu, and everybody's participation and comments. It's very important to keep these lively discussion. Although the time is short, still there are some very important points and conclusions which are brought up every time we discuss issues. Very important. Thanks, everybody. We look forward to seeing you all on Saturday morning at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 10 o'clock a.m. Florida time and 10 o'clock a.m. in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Again, looking forward to see all of you, and thank you all for being so faithful to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.